Hello there, it's Andy Ewens from FormaServe once again. In this short how-to and IBM video, we'll be taking a look at shells. What are shells? Why should I use them? Why should I move away from 5250? We'll be showing you all this and lots more. Take a look at these shells. They will be your friend. You will benefit from using them. Thank you. So, what are shells? The definition of a shell is a user interface to an operating system's services. It is a way we can securely talk to our IFS PASE environment. What is PASE? To quote IBM, PASE, Portable Application Solutions Environment, you can port IBM AIX applications to the IBM I platform with minimal effect. Yeah, just like that, IBM. As my blackboard says, it's just like we use Q command, we use a shell to talk to the PASE environment. Now we've got that out of the way, PASE includes 3 shells for us to use. They are corn, bourne and C shells. The default is the corn shell if connected from a green screen, QP2 term or start QSH. And it's the bourne shell if you connect to the IFS via an SSH session. To be honest, both shells are quite dated and there is better around. We will show you. Having said these are dated, what else do we have? The answer is Bash, the Born Again shell. It is a bourne compatible shell that incorporates useful features from the corn and the C shell. Some of its useful features are: holds all your shell history. We can use autocomplete. It has its own startup script and we can customize it, and many more features. If that lot don't get you off green screens, I don't know what will. Before I show you some examples of using Bash, how do we get it? 2 ways, as always, with open source on the eye. Using ACS, Open Source Management, or a yum install bash, which is the way I would install it. Let me give you a demo of using bash commands. I start a bash session which automatically signs me into my home directory. More about that a bit later. The first feature to show you is the autocomplete. ALS-AL PO *** directory listing is looking for my Powerwire examples. It shows me 4 RPG files. Let me copy the third one and show you the autocomplete. So CP for copy, then PO, and press the tab. It will autocomplete up to Power 11. It won't suggest any more as there are multiple choices. If there was only one, it would completely autocomplete. So if I add 3 to the prompt, then tab again, it will autocomplete the rest for me. It's the tab shortcut that performs the autocomplete for us. Let me show you my bash history. The up and down arrows flick through the history. If I want to go back to my ls command, I'll press the up arrow a couple of times until I find the correct one. There are now 5 Powerwire RPG sources there. So autocomplete and history all very handy. The history is also maintained over sessions, so I could keep pressing the up arrow key to see yesterday's commands. It saves 500 previous commands, all very neat. For those interested, it stores those 500 commands in a file called .bash_history. Let me type out that file for you, cat.bash_history. And here are all my commands. I can also search this history if I don't want to keep pressing the up arrow key. Using Ctrl+R for recall echo, it finds the echo in the command to show which shell I'm using. Again, more about that a bit later. Control R again, this time I'll key in CA, where it shows my last cat command. If I press Control R again, it will carry on looking through the bash history for all CAs. All very useful, a definite plus to using this shell rather than using the green screen shell. Let's take a look at customizing the way bash looks. We can customize the prompt with bash. I've changed my prompt to show me the server I'm connected to, the directory I'm in, and also the Git branch I'm in. We customize the prompt by looking at the .bashrc file in my home directory. Let's take a look at that file. I'll show you mine if, hang on, better stop there. So a cat.bashrc. Firstly, the hash character is used for comments, so we can forget about all those lines. We can see I've set up some aliases here. Yes, getting lazier each day. For example, if I type in ll at a prompt, it runs the command ls with the parameters a, l and f. So ll is running the ls command with a for all files, including the hidden ones, l for the long format, and f for the file types. Asterisks are executable, where / is for directories, and @ for a symbolic link. Back to the bashrc file. Next we see a way of determining the Git branch I'm on. Don't worry about this bit. The next I'm exporting PS1 with a load of information, setting up the directory I'm in and the Git branch with a $sign at the end. At the bottom of the script we can see an example where it would show my prompt on every line. I'll tab over to another shell session just to show you what that is like. Very basic, but it shows you all what you can do customizing your bash shell. There's loads of examples on the web about setting up bash cursors. Take a look there for something to fit your mood. Now we know all about the different types of shell and know the default settings are not the best, how do we change over to different shells? Good old run SQL scripts from ACS. IBM provides a stored procedure to change shells. There are a couple of other ways to set shells, but this is now the preferred method. Let me fire up run SQL. The stored procedure, or SP, is set_pace_shell_info, and we pass parameters to it. The first parameter is the user profile to change. We can also use special values here of *current and *default, all pretty obvious. The second parameter is the shell to use. Line 4 in my scripts is setting the current user to use bash. Lines 7 and 8 set two users to the corn shell. Line 11 sets the default to bash. Line 14 sets Andy to bash, thank you very much, and then the bash shell and the default setting, whatever that is. Line 23 will show you all the users that have their shell set. To determine the current default, look for the QSys user profile. IBM has made this very easy to use SQL to define which shell you need for your users. When we are in a shell session, if we set any parameters, for example our path to search for programs, that setting would only be active in that session. If we sign off, that setting disappears. Which is very much like setting a library list in an interactive session, then signing off. We wouldn't expect it to be there when we sign back on again. To make a setting active every time we sign on, we set up a script to run on startup, just like we would a startup program for an interactive job. The system will search for your shell startup in two ways. It will firstly look to see if a file called profile exists in the qopensys/etc directory. If it exists, it will be used globally for all users. It will also look for a file called .profile in the user's home directory. If this file exists, it will use this one as a startup instead of the global one. It takes preference. Let me show you the one in my home directory. I'll switch over to VS Code, go into the IFS, find my home directory, then Andy. Looking for the .profile file and open that one up. Take a look at what we have in there. Firstly, the hash sign offer comments. Then a quick echo statement just to let the user know we are running the script. Then we set up our path for the open source packages and Node.js 8. The path statement is the shell's equivalent of setting a library list, somewhere to search for open source packages. The next few lines are commented out, but show how we set the path for Zen Server and native PHP. We then export the path to make it active, set some language terminal parameters, then a quick echo to say we're all done. Loads and loads on Google about shell scripts. This was just a quick example of how they can be used. If you need any further details about open source or IBM I, check out all our videos at learning.formaserve.co.uk and the articles we have written for Powerwire.eu. I hope you find them useful and let us know if there are any other topics you want us to cover. And that wraps up this quick video. Thank you for watching our How To on IBM I video set. I hope you found them useful. Keep checking our website learning.formaserve.co.uk and our YouTube channel. We regularly add new ones. Stay safe and see you soon.